such an asshole.
I was always envious of Bugs Bunny and Jerry from Tom and Jerry because those guys like had no they always had cozy holes. Like Jerry, when he'd go through the little holes Tom was trying to get him, but then behind the wall there was like this magical world of there's a fireplace and a couch. It's really and Bugs Bunny they just build a hole wherever, but then you got down there's nice furniture and you had a cozy bed. Just saying. All right, we got a question that might be on the minds of many young people today. Uncle Cappy, I'm a 33-year-old male who has 120,000 saved up and 100% debt free. I also have 15,000 in a Roth IRA. I'm not married and have no kids. I'm recently engaged as I plan to have children. My woman for now is not a soul-sucking feminist. Oh, you found the one, huh? She follows my lead. I vetted her hard for 4 years before committing to her. She's even willing to marry me without the license. Look, she's willing to marry you without the license. Dude, guys, just hear me out. Why get married? Just be committed to each other. Okay. You don't need the government. You don't need the government. Just commit to each other. That's all I'm going to say. Well, and change her last name, Kawabunga. We'll see if she changed her last name in some courts of law that would be viewed as a marriage nonetheless. Just an option. Do you see a lot of happy married people? No, you don't. Just pointing it out. Trying to give you added value here at Asshole Consulting. I'll be purchasing a used Toyota next year in cash in the 25,000 range and plan on keeping it long-term 10 to 15 years. I make 90 to 120,000 a year depending on my performance. Where have all the good men gone? My problem is I can't stomach the waste of money on interest in overpriced homes. I feel my years of hard work paying down college debt, then saving my 120 has been blown away. The hard-earned money I have saved is simply the market adjustment to a current house price. Kills me. 250 to 300,000 homes are now 400,000. Very common, very common experience. It takes you 5 years to save up a 20% down payment on the house, and then over time, it's no longer 20% because the house has gone up so much. I am going to point out once again that voting has consequences. Your generation disproportionately voted in a guy called Barack Obama, who, if you look up the numbers, increased the money supply almost fourfold. And in intellectual honesty, your political opposites voted in Trump, who also then increased the money supply 3 times over that. But Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. What happened? You voted for free money because Trump had the stimmy checks under the disease. This is what happens when you vote for free money. Things get more expensive. You all supposed to take economics in college, right? Are the professors all Marxists and just imagine, like, what's his name? Did you actually believe Paul Krugman? We could just print off more money. Did you actually believe that? These are the same people who lied to you about everything, but you still believe the lie that it was good. Oh, I like that lie. Yeah, why are things so expensive? Yeah, even your cars, 25 grand for a used truck. But I understand, sir. And you're not alone. Every young person, everyone under 40 is in this position right now. You can't afford housing. I agree, because it's the truth. So I'm going to try and help you out here and give you guys some options that'll hopefully get you some housing. Could have had a 300,000 home and put 100,000 down. 150,000 gets you a soggy Nike shoebox. F. My question, if you were me and had these circumstances before you, what would be the first things you'd do? Thanks, Captain A-hole. Much brotherly love. Not all millennials are retards. No, they're not. No, they're not. and I even wrote a book called How Not to Become a Millennial. And it's not slamming on the millennials. It's like, here's what you need to do. But it's not what I wanted to hear. Fine, keep going that way. God, you guys are 40 now. So I said to the guy, I asked the guy, I says, well, when it comes to the house, are you planning on living in the area for a while? And if so, how long? I plan I do plan on it. My goal is to find 3 to 5 acres on 100,000 near a water source, then have an Amish built cabin, 4 to 700 square feet, done for 60, 80,000, maybe a modular for 200, and hang in that for a long while and build our family garden. I think the least 10 years, probably more. Okay, so the reason I asked that is for many, if not most young people today. I know a lot of you would like to own a home, but it probably isn't the best lodging option for you. If you're single, you're not going to have kids, you're still trying to figure out your career, and that means still moving, then most of you, even though like traditions, like you got to get a house and quit wasting money on rent, that's not the case until you are in the situation this young man is in, where he's going to get married, he plans on having kids, and he's going to be there for 10 years. The fact you're going to be there for a while, okay, now that makes sense to get a home. And the general rule of thumb for those of you who are new to looking at houses, you want to be there at least 7 years. It's just the rule of thumb. Also, he's going to settle down and have a family. If you're single, like, so let's say you're single or you're a double income, no kids, and you're like, all right, but we don't want to have kids. Even then, the house might not be worth it. Even if you're going to be there for 10 years, it still might be worth it renting. And I know rent's expensive. I'm just telling you what generally is so. You got to do your own cost benefit analysis and compare the numbers because each local market is different. But I'm just saying it's not always the case that housing is the best option, especially what your property taxes are and all that. So you are in the situation, you want to have a home. You should be looking for a home. And for those of you who are like, yeah, I'm going to be here for a while and the market conditions are right, yeah, you want to get into a home. So now let's go forward into looking at how to afford a home. All right. The overall goal, especially nowadays, it is not the 50s anymore. Thank God, because the 50s were just so too bad. In 50s, there was American patriarchy and there was racism. It's like, because we couldn't possibly have 50s policies minus the racism, right? Why have 50s economics without the bigotry? We couldn't do that now, could we? No. So that's long gone because you all believe Marxist socialist professors and teachers. So you have to play by today's rules. And whereas, yeah, back in the day, you could afford a house on one income and blah, blah, that is not the case today. So what the plan is, or what the goal should be for any young person today, is that you got to hedge against housing inflation. And so how do you do that? How do you do that so that you get in? And hang on, I'm going to put a little note in there. Because you don't want to wait 20 years and all of a sudden now houses are $1 million a pop and you can't afford it anymore. So the goal is to somehow get into real estate early, even if it's a little condo, even if it's a blank piece of land. So that as time goes on, you start making more and more money, you get out of debt. Oh, cool, I got this piece of land. Or I got this dumpy little condo that I started building up equity in. And then over time, assuming we keep printing off money, which we do, your $100,000 condo you bought 10 years ago is now $250,000. And that doesn't mean you made $150,000 because all the other property went up, which means your lodging expenses went up, but you still kept up with housing inflation. You liquidate your condo for $200,000. You take the $180,000 in equity or whatever you built up, and now you can afford a normal home. That's what I did back in the day. I bought a house when I was 24. If you could believe it, with no help from my parents or the government. Yeah. Like, wow, the last real American man. Where have all the good men gone? But there would be no way I could afford a house today had I not invested early in housing beforehand. So that's the overall strategy. How do you get into some kind of housing that is still safe and clean, allows you to save, so that down the road you're not priced out of housing when maybe you do want to have a family, or maybe you'd like to have more than a one-bedroom apartment, things like that. So there's a couple things you can do. All right. First is a real estate investment trust. This is the most flexible and easy thing that you can do. You say, what's a real estate investment trust? A real estate investment trust, or a REIT, REIT, is a mutual fund of properties. So instead of a mutual fund that's just an amalgamation of corporate stock, you invest in a real estate investment trust that is an amalgamation of different properties. Some REITs invest in farmland, some invest in real estate, some invest in downtown commercial, but some invest in manufacturing properties. They're all over the place, but you want a diversified real estate investment trust that kind of spreads all of its investments across all different types of property. It can go down in price because real estate prices can go down. So, oh my God, it went down. Oh, the bad man on the internet said to do so. You are hedging against real estate inflation. So the idea of investing in a real estate investment trust, a little bit here, a little bit there, is that slowly over time, you are putting your money into real estate and not just letting it sit there as cash. So that as property values go up, generally speaking, but they can go down, the money you invested in that also goes up, maintaining your purchasing power when the point in time comes that you're ready to buy a house. So if you were to be a savvy young Zoomer now, the Zoomers are taken over from the millennials, you might want to, in addition to working a second job and paying off your student debts, work up the extra money and toss a couple bucks into a real estate investment trust. And then use that as a down payment, merely than just your bank account that loses 5 to 10% against inflation, because you keep voting for more free money. Yay! I'm a college graduate. I took economics 3 times. Why can't I afford a house? So that's one thing you can do. Right? The other one is what you're thinking about doing. Buy the land. Right? Buy the land. It's a little more difficult because you got to know for a fact you want to live there. But there again, let's say you buy that piece of land. And you're like, okay, in 4 years' time, I plan on building on that land. But 4 years is a long time. All of a sudden, you get a different job offer. Oh, I can't build there anymore. I wanted to live in wherever, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. But then I got this job I couldn't refuse over in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, okay, in theory, then land should have gone up in value a little bit, maybe, that you could liquidate the land and then go buy a piece of land in Phoenix, Arizona, or wherever it is that you might want to live or move to. But again, my point, this is part of, if you want to get the book, it's called Reconnaissance Man. The whole point, the most important things you can do as a young person today is travel in the United States or globally, figure out where you want to live. Because you don't want to be these baby boomer dipshits in New York City. Where should everyone in New York alive today right now buy a house? Where? The answer is Florida, because that's where you're all going to end up anyway. So skip buying the houses in this and that. Well, we moved to a slightly better borough. There's less Democrat people pooping in the streets than the other borough. Oh, bibbity bobby, Vinny, look out. Oh, they burned the building down. Oh, my goodness. They got rid of the cops. Oh, days. I don't know why my housing values keep going. Maybe we should move to Florida. Don't wait till you're 73 to move to Florida. Just all New Yorkers, just go down to Florida now. But the whole point of Reconnaissance Man was figure out where you want to live and then buy the land there. So you don't buy 3 houses and pay realtors fees and repairs and maintenance costs and moving costs. So that's another thing young people can do. And it's not that, traveling. How hard is that? Just travel around, bum around. All right. So find the land, buy the land. There might be a mortgage associated with it. Work off over the years to pay off the land or pay it down. Save up some money for a down payment, and then you're going to build a home, right? Now, what kind of home? All right, let's talk about these options. Obviously not a big one, right? You could do prefab. There's a lot of options coming on the internet or coming on the market now where, trailers. You can do a trailer. You can go get yourself a trailer. Just put it out there. The one on the wheels, you see the ones that are on the trucks? You want free lodging, right? I don't like it. Oh, too bad. You don't like it. I got to live in basements with spiders most of my adult life. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. Do you want to keep paying $2,500 a month rent? Or a van life? Or have a trailer? Like either the ones on the wheels or the ones like where you got a it's a single wide trailer, like you all make fun of the people down south. You know, oh, the Hicks. Remember how you made fun of Hicks? Yeah, well, you could have a nice trailer. The reason it has such a negative reputation is definitely in Wyoming is because they use them in the meth labs and don't maintain them. But you can have these prefab homes, whether it's a trailer, whether it's a van, whether it's one of those RVs, right? In other words, you're looking for lodging. You're not necessarily looking for a nice house. You're just looking for a place that you don't have to spend $2,500 a month on rent. And so you can mini houses, whatever. There are many options. Another one closely related is these Home Depot sheds. You got sheds that you can convert. It's only going to be a one-bedroom house with a toilet and I mean, it's going to be small, but it's lodging. And you can pick up these sheds for like $16,000. They're already pre-assembled. You have someone come in, do the concrete and the foundation. You land, you have people do the wiring and the plumbing. You get yourself a little fire hut. I have a friend of the female persuasion. She builds little one-bedroom cottages and cabins. And there you go. You have a place to sleep. Now, depending on where you are, the ordinances, government's the solution to everything, right, kids? Look at how much government you voted in because, Democrat peanuts. Why are there so many regulations? Why is there so many taxes? I don't know. It's a Scooby-Doo mystery. I studied economics. Depending on who's in charge, there may be ordinances against you building prefab homes and having some home options, but at least he's made it safe. At least Karen was made happy. But that would be factored into your decision. Can I put a hut on this land? Or is that going to be against the pressure? Oh, Democrat controlled Edina. Like you couldn't build a house now in Democrat controlled Edina. You couldn't. Just not happening. So, but that's something that you could do. But there's these Home Depot sheds. You get the shed at maybe $30,000 construction cost total. There you go. There's your little bachelor hut. And you're off to the races. All right. So you buy the land, put cheap housing on it. Time goes on, you're making more and more money. Now all of a sudden you could afford to build a normal house for a family maybe. And now you have a bachelor hut. You have a little mother-in-law apartment you can rent out. How about that? Okay. Seeing how we're building, and achieving. While we're talking about rental property, that's another option. You can buy a duplex or a triplex. This is what I did. I would buy duplexes, rent out the 2 units, renovate the basement, and live in the basement because I couldn't afford to live up top. And that is a way to do it. Oh, look, guys, it's not that I hate the Democrats. It's that they're just wrong. Their policies are wrong. And now, especially you young people are suffering because of their policies. And not to say the Republican policies were all much better, but for poor people like me, that was the option. Oh, you live in a 1 unit and you rent out the others. It ain't a house in a slightly lower standard of living, but it gets you there. Well, even in the town, now they have rent controls. Now I can't charge more. And what will end up, and you all keep voting up property taxes. So now, being very literal, you have to make darn sure that if you were to buy rental property, it's not in a Democrat town. The city council is not Democrats. They don't have rent control, and they don't force you to take applicants you don't want. Because I'll let you know, by the way, Section 8, sometimes, yeah, it can work out. But a lot of times they just end up destroying your property. And the other thing you got to worry about living in Democrat cities, having rental property in Democrat cities, and this happened to me, is they jack up the property taxes to the point you're not making money on the property anymore. But we got a free school lunch program. And that's really important. Why is there no housing? I know, arbitrarily limit rents. That will make the houses that don't exist more affordable. So that is, and I would look at state law, certainly your local law. Go to the state's multi-housing association and just ask them, what's the deal here? What are the landlord rights? Oh, you have none. You're basically just going to give away free housing. Then the rental property is not for you. But it might be an option. There's a condo. Right? You find yourself a condo. Yes, there's going to be HOA. Yes, they're probably pricey, but it's a way to get in. It's a way to get cheaply into housing. And then down the road, once you decide that you don't want to live in downtown New York or whatever, you sell your condo, you take the money, you go build a piece of property in Pennsylvania. Maybe you have kids or whatever. I don't know. That's another thing. And then finally, this is the one I'm recommending to particularly young people. Live at home from 18 to 22. Do not go to college. I find it hilarious. Just let me ask you all this. Had you worked instead of going to college and taken that money that you borrowed and instead put it towards a mortgage, y'all would have a home, right? You smart millennials with your college degrees, you'd have a home. Not a worthless piece of paper that say, I are really smart. Dude, really, just be perfectly honest, don't go to college. Just don't go to college. I mean, unless you're an engineer or an accountant, just don't go to college. I bet you a lot of you be able to afford housing more. It's that meme with the black dude with the orange jacket. You know, take 4 years labor and 120,000 buy a house. No. Take 4 years labor, 120,000 in debt, buy a worthless piece of paper. Yeah. Are you ever? I had a serious question for millennials. Are you ever going to admit you were wrong? I know you were lied to. You were. My generation was too. But are you going to admit you were wrong about that whole college thing? That you knew how to run the world? Anyway, this is the one I'm telling young people today, Zoomers and those of you. If you haven't seen the train wreck and the body parts and the smashed up bodies that is known as the millennial generation after the train of college just destroyed them, what you might be saying is college is not a good idea in most cases. It's a money-losing operation or proposition and will cripple me financially for the rest of my life. And I did the numbers, and what I'm encouraging every young person to do is like, look, here's the deal. Talk to your parents. Mom, Dad, I want to live here until I'm 22. I'm going to work 2 full-time jobs. And I'm not going to pay $1,500, $2,000 a month rent. You know, that will save you. Because rent is ridiculous. Rent is stupid. I agree with you. Rent is stupid. We should print off more money. More money. Print it off. Why is rent so high? It's the Republicans in the Senate. You live at home. You ain't paying rent. You're also working 2 full-time jobs, even if it's like $15 an hour, whatever, right? Okay. And yes, you're going to be tired. You are going to be tired after these 4 years. But you take that money, you throw it into a diversified mutual fund or the S&P 500 index or something, which can go down, by the way, or real estate investment trust. You throw your money into that. Assuming it provides an average rate of return, you're going to be sitting on at minimum $100,000. More likely $150,000, depends on what you're getting paid and where you are. If you come walking out at the age of 22 with $150,000 cash in your pocket, you were so much further ahead in all regards compared to your college graduating peers. That $150,000 at the age of 22 can now actually help you afford a house. You also have 4 years working experience. You might have gotten a raise or a promotion. And now you could consider going to college if you wanted. But now you got $150,000. And now you can actually afford a home. And at such an early point in your life, think about how much you're going to save on rent. even if you didn't want to invest that in housing, you at 22, you have $150,000. You throw that in the S&P 500. By the time you're 65, you're going to have millions. You retire. In other words, what I'm saying is, you don't have to save for retirement anymore. That part is done and over. And so that's another way to do that. And then finally, one thing that will help you is, please, if you're going to go to school for something, don't go to school for something that doesn't pay. 65% of the reason that young people today can't afford a house, admittedly, housing prices got out of hand, I'm not disagreeing with you there, is you majored in dumb crap. If you're making $45 an hour as an accountant, you could probably afford a house. Right? Especially if you can get a remote skill, you can work remotely, so you can go live where the housing is cheap. You could go move to the middle of nowhere, Ohio. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. You can go down to Alabama. You could go wherever you want where the housing is cheap. As long as you got internet, you can work there. And so that's the thing I would recommend career-wise. And for you young people, please don't major in dumb shit. Work. You know, did you see a participation trophy generation? Oh, this money will shit out of the sky, and I'm going to major in music therapy, and Obama says I'm entitled. How's it working? Work hard, work smart, make a lot of money, and then, hey, I could afford this place. And I made that mistake. I majored in finance. Don't major in finance, major in accounting. My life would have been a lot easier if I had a degree in engineering or accounting. And then I guess the only other thing is, look, ain't no one coming to save you, all right? Everything we've talked about here is you depending on houses either already existing or somebody else building them. And this guy talked about building an Amish hut. There are so few contractors because we have a ton of college graduates, but no one who knows how to build a house or frame or wire or plumb. Because, ew, right, girls? That's gross. Ew, boring. He doesn't have his master's degree. Oh, my goodness, Trisha. There is a shortage of builders. That means there's going to be a shortage of housing. Not only now, but going into the future. It would not hurt any of you to learn how to build a house. Take some courses. I'm not saying you got to build some big ass McMansion, but if you can build a hut, like you get a hut, learn to wire. I can wire that. Go to community college for a little bit. Take some free courses. Learn how to plumb. Go online, YouTube, whatever else. I could put in a hot water heater. Even if you learn to do one critical trade, that will drastically cut the cost of you building a home. And then usually you can barter, like, hey, I'll plumb your house if you roof mine. I'll plumb your house if you do the wiring on my house. And tradesmen do that all the time. But going forward, especially for younger people, learn how to be a carpenter. Not because it pays well, which it does, but you could build your own house. You can't build your own car. That takes some machinery and a factory. You can build your own house. May not be glorious, but you can build it. And so there you go. But yeah, that whole wait around for the government to do something, isn't that what most of you have been doing your adult life? We need more money for housing. Who's going to build it? And I know many of you want to live in a downtown condo where all the action is. I don't like this area. I want to have a McMansion. Even though I vote Democrat all the time, I want the materialistic 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house in the suburbs. So I can brag to my female friends. It's over, man. It ain't going to happen. So there you go. That's how you can solve your housing problem if you want to solve it. Otherwise, you can bitch and whine about it the rest of your life and have nothing at it by the time you're dead. All right, let's continue on with the super chats. So link below. I'm sorry, link below. Some added resources. If you want to get your financial stuff together, you can. I'm being 100% serious about this. Yes, it's bad, but you don't have to be poor. You don't. Okay, so link below. Bachelor Pad Economics, flagship finance book. Go get that. Especially the younger you are, the better it is for you to learn this stuff early on. Achieving Financial Excellence. That's a course I offer through Teachable. It teaches you why you don't need the 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. And once you find out you don't need all this shit, your finances become a lot easier to manage. And then what was the other one? Bachelor Pad. Oh, how not to become a millennial. Not because I don't like millennials, but for you young people, you're getting told the exact same lies that the millennials were, and you're going down the exact same path. You're going to have the exact same results. So 15 years from now, you'll all be 40. I need a student loan bailout. It's not fair. I can't afford a house. It's the Republic. Are we going to be blaming Trump 15 years from now? You know, he's the one that gave you the stimmy checks. I don't know if you, do you want to complain all the time or do you want to have a better life? What do you want? Which one do you want? So there you go. All right. Liberal shithole survivalist 357. Clever. Buy silver now and trade for a house post collapse. Yeah, you could. Yeah, if there's a collapse, you assume they're going to be protecting property rights, though, sir. Ellie Beeblebox. Hey, he's back. $5. General support for the truth telling Shakespearean fool that you are. I just want. Look, here's what my legacy will be. I won't be paid for it now, but down the road, they'll be like, look at this guy telling them what everything was wrong. And they still ignored him. The Black Blur, $5. That sounds complicated. Cappy, can you just buy me one, preferably a Miami beachfront property? And while you're at it, throw in a Corvette Z06. See, but Blur, I know you're making fun, but that's what a lot of these young people are told. That's what they believe. Like, you're entitled. Like, the whole entitlement. Go look at St. Paul's housing market. They just limited, they did price controls, rent controls. The reality is they just shortened or lessened the amount of housing available in St. Paul. Because anyone who would go in and build an apartment or rental housing, they say, well, we can't increase the rent on if prices go up and you increase our property taxes. We need to make a profit on it because why would we invest our money anyway building this property? So they just limited the supply of housing. So in reality, what they did is they worsened the housing situation in St. Paul. And that's because it's entitlement mentality. Well, I should get it for free. There is no free. Because if you're like not going to pay for it, then people aren't going to provide it. I should get free food. Why should the farmer go into it? I mean, this is basic 101 economics that the third grader should figure out. But you got full-grown adults that, I think they're right. Well, I don't know who's going to build it for you, lady. I mean, you wonder why there's so much homeless in tent cities coming up because those are the people like, hey, it's a right. Well, it ain't working. Now go get a job. Become a carpenter. Then you can be like, oh, I shouldn't have to. Fine, do your drugs. I don't care. Shithouse DR, $5. Timberland is a good long-term investment. Usually property tax is deferred until harvest. Oh, yeah, you're right. There's another idea. Like you could also get farmland and lease it out to farmers. So Glenn Lawrence. Well, look I hope you're doing well, Glenn. I hope your medical conditions are good. Everyone subscribe to his channel, by the way. $5. Cap. Oh, I got to call you too, Glenn. Cappy, I'm going to buy out your neighbor just so I can be your neighbor. Come over and power sugar. Dude, Glenn, I'm not kidding. That'd make a great sitcom. Like you, me, and Paul. In the same neighborhood. Trusty Rusty, 10 generous dollars. Thank you, Trusty Rusty. I joined the military, got an associate's degree in IT free. Almost done with my Bachelor's of Science in Networking and Cybersecurity free. The military is another option. And then you get really good financing rates through the VA. Also single and bought a house 2 years ago. Pays very good in my field. There, you see, you didn't go to college. Well, you went to college, but you had the government pay for it. You got free food, clothing, and shelter from the military. You saved your money. You didn't knock up a girl. You can do it. Y'all can do it. Guys, you're gonna go live in a tent. Arab Sven Svensson, 50 Norwegian or Swedish kroners. Doghouse up here north costs both balls and and your parents have to sign their house as a collateral. Big Short is all over the Fing walls. Is that Swedish walls or what's Fing? Oh, effing walls. Well, they're socialists. They know what they're doing. They know what they're Sweden. They know everything. That's why they're so. That's always a good country. That's why things are so affordable in Sweden and Norway. Isn't it like $50 for a basic bottle of vodka up there? I think a Big Mac is like $7. We know everything. I hate Arab Sven. I don't know if you're Swedish or Arab, but happen to be in Sweden. But turned out when I did the genetic thing, I ain't Irish, Scandinavian, and I have shame that I'm part of the. That's my impersonation of Scandinavians. And so now I do not mention my ethnicity. Our future MD, $10. Kid homes and buying land outside the city. There you go. 2-bed, 1-bath for $65,000, an acre of land for $30,000. Even if you have a degree in minor in mirror fogging, it has instructions. It's not that hard. Thank you, our future MD. Thank you. Trusty Rusty, $2. Laughing out loud. No. Divorced 2 kids. Almost perfect. Wait, hang on. Join the military. Oh, wait. So in spite of being divorced and 2 kids, you have a house and no student loan debt. See? You're coming from behind. From behind. Still doing better than most people. All right, there you guys go. Also, starting September 3rd through the 8th, my course, Achieving Minimalism. That is my flagship course. There's Achieving Financial Excellence. That's the introductory kind of companion sister course. But the big one, Achieving Minimalism, because if you spend more money than you make, it doesn't matter what else you do. You're still going to be po. This is the number one problem is people spending, not necessarily how much they make. That's why I put this together. That will be open for enrollment the 3rd through the 6th. You can sign up now for the Teachable because it's through Teachable. So you have to set up a Teachable account so you could sign up now. Just search Aaron Clary Teachable or the Clary School of Economic Philosophy. And you could sign up for the Teachable now. And then when that opens up for enrollment, you can enroll in that course. But yeah, hopefully all those resources will help you guys. Maybe you can afford a house. Oh, I don't know. Be in a tent playing your acoustic guitar. I hate Republicans. The boomers lied to me. I shit my pants, but sometimes I shit on the street. Oh, San Francisco is for me. That could be your life. See you guys later. Toodles.